All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to another month of Hospitality TV Wine Club Wines. This is August. Thank you again for your support. We're doing something a little bit different this month. No bells and whistles, filming at home with cameras. I'm doing it in the shop at Bird Rock Fine Wine, just with my phone. I'm gonna go straight to the point. I'm pretty excited about this month's wine. Per usual, we're doing one grape, two wines, focusing on two regions. This is one of my favorite grapes. It was kind of hard to find, actually. Kept on getting delayed on trying to find the right wine, tasting the right one for you guys, and actually getting the samples in. That's why this video is coming a little bit late to you, so I appreciate your patience. But we got the wines. I'm super pumped about both of them because they're great representations. We've kind of gone through all the international grapes already, so we're getting into these kind of funky, quirky grapes. So it was a little bit harder to find what I really wanted to show, which was a great representation of where they come from. So let's look at the wines. Or actually, let's talk about the grape for a quick second. So this month we're doing Mourvedre, or Mourvedre, right? It's M-O-U-V-E-D-R-E. Some people say Mourvedre, some Mourvedre. I think either one is acceptable. The grape is from the south of France, and you may have seen it or may have heard of it before in the very popular GSM blend, right? What people will call GSM, known as Grenache, Syrah, or Mourvedre. You see a lot of them coming out of Paso Robles. I think it's what has put a lot of people onto this style of blend here domestically, right? But really where it originated from was in the Southern Rhone Valley. And we've looked at this area before, right? So the Southern Rhone is known for these Grenache-based blends. Think of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, right? We've talked about that before. But the Mourvedre, that's where it's going to come into play. So a lot of people are doing these Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre blends. Some very popular houses in Châteauneuf will do Mourvedre heavy, like Chateau Beaucastel is known for doing a Mourvedre dominant blend in their wines. But not a lot of people doing mainly Mourvedre styles of wine. In order to find that, you need to go further down south into the southern part of France, into an area called Bandol. And they focus a lot on these Mourvedre dominant blends. It's hard to find a very high predominance of Mourvedre in the wine, but we found one and I'm super excited. So again, the area is Bandol. I'm gonna put that up front for you guys to take a peek at. I'm really excited about this wine. We got a great deal on it for the wine club, which I'm pumped on. A lot of times you can't necessarily find Bandol for a really comfortable price, so we got it. It's here for you. I'm pumped for you to try it. It's typical in the region to see other grapes blended into Bandol. You will see a lot of predominance of Mourvedre, but you will see some Grenache. You'll see even some Syrah or Carignan that are allowed in the blend. But I was really searching for a high predominance of Mourvedre because that's the grape that we're focusing on this month. So this wine actually has 90% Mourvedre. It's predominantly Mourvedre. Or excuse me, 95% Mourvedre actually, with the remaining 5% being Grenache. They do use a little bit of oak in the wine. Now what's super crazy, and what we're seeing a lot out of, more and more out of this area, because it's so hot, right? It's on the coast, it's east of Marseille. It's a very warm climate. These wines are getting up to 15% alcohol. And I've tasted this when we were looking for the wines, and I tasted it just again right now. And it does not taste like, say for example, a 15% Napa Cab. No way, there's way more balance to the wine. But the wines are rich. They do use a little bit of oak in this style of wine. The producer is, sorry I didn't mention that up front, Domaine Le Galantin. This is basically a second generation female winemaker who's running the estate with the help of her brother. They're making fantastic wine. So again, the area is Bandol. If you like this style, which I hope you do, you know what to look for. Mourvedre dominant wines. One more thing about Mourvedre too is that you'll see some people in the New World doing some Mourvedre dominant blends all across California. We know we like to experiment a bunch here in California, so you will see that. Actually, another one that I really like is Skinner from El Dorado. We used their wines for their Grenache a few months back. I didn't want to repeat the producer. I was really tempted to do it, but I didn't. Because we wanted to show some more variety, and I have a new killer New World Mourvedre over here that we're going to show you here in a second. But the other area where you're going to see this is in Spain, and in Spain they call Mourvedre Monastral. So again, it's another one that you don't really see a whole ton of, but you'll see it in the eastern part of Spain in an area called Jumilla, which is also on the coast. It's going to be south of Barcelona, south of Puriat. So again, it's going to be rare that you see the name Monastrell printed, but what you might see is the name Jumilla. And there's a bunch of different styles, but at least now you know that in Jumilla, Spain, the wines are going to be dominant Mourvedre, aka Monastrell, in that region. Something to look for too. I was tasting through a couple of options there for something from Spain, and the wines are killer. And you can find some of those sometimes out in the stores and in different areas. So just something to note. Those are kind of the two major areas for Mourvedre. Bandol for France and Jumilla in Spain, and then all across California. But let's taste some of this wine. So right away in this wine, what I get and what I love about this style of Mourvedre is that what people always say in the GSM blend is that Grenache brings the fruitiness and high levels of alcohol. Syrah brings in the dark blue and black fruit components with a little meaty and some gaminess to it. Meaty and pepperiness to it from the Syrah. And then Mourvedre brings in the gaminess to this GSM blend. So on its own, it typically will show a lot of gaminess and earthiness, more game, which I like. So right away in the nose, you're getting a lot of this cured meat component and leather, which is really characteristic of this region, and I love it. The game comes through on the palate. Think dried meats, cured meats. There's this beautiful kind of dried, baked red fruit component that comes through on it. And then the alcohol comes through in the very end on the finish, right? The tannins are very much in check. It's not a tannic wine, but it's a rich, viscous wine that completely covers your palate. And again, I mean, this gets pretty textbook characteristics of the southern part of France for Bandol and what it should be like. Yeah, I'm really excited about this wine, guys. If you like this style, Ken here at the shop has a couple different options for you as well for Bandol. Just come in, ask for a Bandol. He can walk you through what the best styles are. I highly recommend exploring a little bit more, but I'm really excited to see what you guys think. And let me know. I mean, that is some textbook Bandol right there. So that's the old world version of Mourvedre. Let's move into the new world. This is another wine that I'm super excited about. One, for the wine itself. Two, for the producer. It's actually a really good friend of mine. And three, just to showcase the area a little bit more. So this is from Valle de Guadalupe. One of my favorite wines coming out of the region is a Mourvedre dominant wine made by none other than Jorge Maciel out of Cava Maciel. If you ever get the opportunity, you need to go down there and taste at his property. He is, in my opinion, I don't want to offend anybody because I have a lot of friends in the area, or I have a handful of friends in the area. He is, in my opinion, the best, or one of the best ambassadors for Baja, specifically Valle de Guadalupe, that there is. He is such a friendly, charismatic guy. He's always been nothing but good vibes. He knows everybody down there. He is the epitome of what a small boutique producer is. He's making under 5,000 cases of wine for sure across the board of all the styles that he does. He makes an unbelievable Chardonnay out of Valle, one of the best that I've tasted, super clean and delicious. He makes a killer Cabernet, killer Merlot, and then he is one of the few people that I know in Valle that are focusing on Mourvedre. So in this vintage, he has been making 100% Mourvedre up until this vintage that we have now, and he's actually starting to blend in some Cabernet Sauvignon. So this isn't 100% Mourvedre, but it's pretty close and still gives a really good picture as to what to expect. And honestly, the possibilities of what somebody can do in Valle de Guadalupe when you make some really good wines. So this does see 12 months in French and American oak. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, Jorge used to tell me that he does get the Mourvedre from San Vicente, which is a little bit further south of Valle de Guadalupe, and it's an area that's making some very, very high quality grapes. So he's going out of his way to source these grapes that are planted there, bring them back to Valle and make these wines. With the addition of Cabernet Sauvignon and the addition of 12 months in French and American oak, that's going to add a lot of structure to this wine. You know, you do get, I think sometimes in Valle you get a lot of savory notes to the wine. What I like about his wines is that they tend to be very clean. So you are getting the textbook kind of gamey cured meat notes that you get from Mourvedre on the nose. And let's see if they continue on the palate. Yeah, I mean, this is such a good parallel from the first wine, right? Because there's a lot of similarities, which is what I want when we're comparing Old World versus New World, just to make sure that there is some true identity in the grape that we're showing. But yeah, this sits a little bit heavier for sure. There's a little bit more extraction, a little bit more concentration. The Cabernet is showing because there's more structure. The tannins are still very much in check. But from an alcohol perspective, it says 12.5%. It feels a lot richer than that. It does weigh heavy on the palate. But again, the wine is clean and the fruit finishes on it is super clean too, which I love, especially from wines from Valle de Guadalupe. Yeah, I mean, again, just as a form of comparison, right? Because I like putting things into perspective. If you think of like a fresh, ripe fruit that you might find in some California Pinot Noir, for example, like if you compare the fruit character, this has a character of being much more wild, baked and cooked and developed fruit with those gamey, wild characteristics that come with it, and with a lot of structure, elevated structure, meaning higher bodied, higher concentration, and higher alcohol, in my opinion, as to what I get on that wine. Again, I wanted to introduce at some point wines from Valle de Guadalupe because I've always been a fan of the culture and the experience that you get down there. And for the people that are doing really, really good wines and are making an effort to do quality wines, and I think Jorge is definitely one of the people at the forefront of this whole movement that's been going on for a while down there. So you get a little sampling here in the wine club. If you want to go down there anytime soon, please let me know and I can help make a reservation for you to go taste at Cava Maciel, which I highly encourage and I really hope you guys do. So that's the tasting for today out of Bird Rock Fine Wine. We got Ken there working late. It never stops. Good day at the shop. But thanks again for your support, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.